Shalom, Yashala, Shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all praise, honor, and glory to the Most High Yahweh. I do so in the name of His only begotten Son, Yahweh Shai. Double honors to the apostles and the elders of Yasharallah. Kol Haloyim La Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai Ba'ashem Harakah Kodash for blessing our elders with the spirit of truth so that we may know. Shout out to the Akim and the Akwaf that's keeping the faith and the work. Shall keep at it. It's your brother Abaya coming at you with more precepts. It's the book of Revelation, chapter 13, and verse 16. And he causeth all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their right hand or in their foreheads, and that no man might buy or sell, save he that had the mark, or the name of the beast, or the number of his name. You won't be able to buy or sell unless you have this thing. That being said, let the video play and I'll be back.
Welcome back. When was the last time you wrote an actual check or bought something with cash? Swiping and tapping our cards and our apps are not just the easiest way to spend money, they're the safest way, unless, of course, we misplace our phones or our wallets, and then it's a nightmare. It is hard to misplace your hands, however. And soon your hand may be all that you need to buy anything that you can afford and many things that you can't. Because a company called Walletmore is developing a very teeny tiny chip. You see it there in the x-ray? That should creep you out. The chip is like the ones that are found in smart credit cards or debit cards. And the chip gets embedded just under your skin and makes your whole hand a credit card. Joining me now is Wojtek Parota. He's the CEO and founder of Walletmore. Okay, Wojtek, this is so futuristic and out there, but walk me through how it actually works.
Okay, so first of all, thanks for having me. Let's look at the chip as a super small part that you can use wherever contactless payments are accepted. So it's exactly the same NFC technology, which stands for near-field communication, and therefore it can be used only for the near-field communication payments. So therefore you cannot be tracked, you cannot be monitored, you cannot be spied with that implant because it's exactly the same technology as credit card.
So here's my worry, is that you can accidentally buy something by just having your hand too close to a machine, or you could accidentally have your data all stolen by shaking someone's hand, because a lot of times we protect our cards in cases that can't be penetrated. But if it's in your hand, it's really hard to do that.
It's not that simple, to be honest. First of all, you cannot lose money when you are shaking hands with anyone, because the implant is the passive tag and it doesn't have any internal source of energy. And therefore, the only option to get the read of that implant is to put it in the near field of terminal. So therefore, the other implant, which is inside of the other person's hand, is not capable of processing information. You need to have that source of energy, and only terminals that you can see at the moment are capable of providing that energy. So that's one thing. The other thing is that you definitely cannot lose your money because of the fact that you tap in a random place. Why? Because the implant is so small compared to the credit card. Normally, of course, when you tap the credit card, the terminal, it gets the read instantly. With the implant, it's a little bit different because you need to be super precise. And therefore, if someone is touching your hand, finding this perfect sweet spot, because that's how we need to look at it, you would realize at least 10 times that something is going on with your hand. So that's also... Do
you have it? Wojtek, do you have it in your hand right now?
Yeah, of course. Actually, the x-ray that you saw was from my hand, and that's how it looks. On my hand.
So show me your hand. Is it possible to see it at all? It's just barely standing out, right? Like it looks like maybe a little like a scar.
Yeah, as you can see, I'm popping it a little bit.
Oh man, that's crazy. Did you have a doctor
on Elon Musk's Neuralink? This isn't new. It has a new name. It's getting recognition by the news. But honestly, it's been squelched. It's been covered up for many, many decades. I can track back at least synthetic telepathy or piping voices into people's head right around Kennedy's assassination, but about 1958 was the earliest target I could find. I hope Elon actually succeeds. This isn't new. It has a new name. It's getting recognition by the news. But honestly, it's been squelched. It's been covered up for many, many decades. I can track back at least synthetic telepathy or piping voices into people's head right around Kennedy's assassination, but about 1958 was the earliest target I could find. I hope Elon actually succeeds, because then this isn't imaginary stuff anymore. People will then see, wow, we can really connect brains together and make hyper intelligence.
There's a company called Synchron, which actually beat Elon Musk in this race to test brain chips. The CEO is Dr. Thomas Oxley, and he joins me now. Doctor, you have FDA approval for this interface between a computer and your brain. I think this is a big deal. How do you get a computer to talk to your brain? Can you explain it in layman's terms?
Thank you. Brain-computer interfaces are a truly revolutionary technology that promise to transform lives of millions of people suffering from paralysis. So it creates a direct connection from the brain to control external digital devices that improve independence.
So hold on a second. I've got a computer, and you can link it to my brain, and you can tell my brain to make my left leg move or my right leg move. I mean, can you do that?
Well, your brain right now is telling your hand to move. Once we digitize that signal directly out of the brain, we can then turn that into a command signal.
Wow. This is a real... It seems to me that this really is a breakthrough. Are you a public company?
We're not. We did our Series B led by Kozla Ventures a couple of months back.
And are you thinking about going public at some point so people like me can get a piece of the action?
We've got a fair way to go, but we have just received the first green light from the FDA to commence clinical trials in the US for a permanent implant.
Okay, so what are you trying out in America?
So the implant comes into the brain through the blood vessels. The blood vessels are the natural highway into the brain. So 1 million heart catheterizations are performed each year in the US, and it's like that. It's a safe and accessible way for large-scale adoption of our technology, and we're going to begin to test that towards the end of the year.
Can you give us any kind of time frame as to how long it would be before we can actually get these brain implants that work with people who really need them?
Yeah, the FDA is leading globally on what the pathway looks like. We are moving along that pathway, we think, pretty fast. We think we can be into market in 3 to 5 years.
So there you have it. It's the book of Psalms, chapter 55, verse 21. The words of his mouth were smoother than butter, but war was in his heart. His words were softer than oil, yet were they drawn swords. Because ultimately this is what is going to lead to destruction. We go to the book of Revelation, chapter 14. And verse 9, it says, "And the third angel followed them, saying with a loud voice, If any man worship the beast in his image and receive his mark in his forehead or in his hand, the same shall drink of the wine of the wrath of power, which is poured out without mixture into the cup of his indignation. And he shall be tormented with fire and brimstone in the presence of the holy angels and in the presence of the Lamb. And the smoke of their torment ascendeth up forever and ever. And they have no rest day nor night who worship the beast and his image, and whosoever receiveth the mark of his name." So with that, how about Shemel Shai these precepts in this video were edifying. Called Haloyim La Yahweh Bahasham Yahweh Shai Bahasham Harakat Kodash Shalom Yashalom.